record this on. We have the USD Canadian dollar. We saw divergence and it was a beautiful move to the downside. Actually, I didn't reach the target zone yet, but I will still look for the target zone in this case because everything is in red, so there is place to move. And after that, if it breaks, I would say let's see what it does to the 38, the next step, right? Then we have the AUD NZD, and it's reaching the high, and after the break I would see the next step, which is already marked. The previous highs will be the next target zone, and after that there will be nothing to hold into the zone. So I would say if this zone breaks here, we can eventually go up to the previous local high in this case. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. And also I have to say next week there will be a crazy week because there will be lots of interest rates, so there will be enough volatility in the market. Okay, the Euro CHF, we reached the bottom. Okay, my expectations were to come back to the 38, but as you see, with one candle it was starting to go up, with one candle down, and then try to go back up. I still want to see this retest in the market, but we are under the zero line with a low volume level, so that's always a bad point if you look into a momentum or something. So the main direction is still to the downside. Okay. As you see here, we are also under the zero line, but also with a low volume, and that's actually why I'm expecting a pullback in the market. So this is kind of like a critical point. Okay, but the first target is here and the second target is there if the first target breaks. Actually, there's some structural divergence, which is good to see. What I would expect is kind of like this divergence here. So the price goes up, and from this point I would say that there will be a turning momentum to the downside. Then the Euro GBP, we had a divergence formed and the price went down, but the divergence is broken, and we see now convergence, which is looking to the upside. Here is also a structural divergence into the RMA, which is about to kick in. The target zone was actually reached because we expected to the price to come back to the 61, and right now I would say let's see the previous high in first case. Okay, and now the interesting part is the DXY. The DXY reached the previous high, but everything is in green yet. We see some structural divergence and a potential divergence forming, which is not formed yet, and that's why I marked here the critical zone, actually where the price should go up in this momentum, and after that I would expect a correction to the downside. And why is that? Because of the REMA and moving averages. Okay, it went up beautifully as expected after the divergence was formed on the weekly, but there is a huge gap between the two. So like what we saw in the previous move here to the downside, see there is a big gap between the two. There was a correction of 4 weeks and then the price went down, but because of this huge gap, there was enough space to make a correction and then a move to the downside. What I would see is kind of like the same thing, some correction to the downside, and it can go up after that. But I think there will be a correction sooner or later. Okay, let's see what the price does at this point. And if this point breaks, we can go impulsively to the next zone, which is possible because, as I said, there is interest rate decision next week and a bunch of huge events like also from the GBP, also from the GPY, and there will be, wait, yes, here the GPY, the interest rate decision of the GPY will be there, and some S&P as well. So there is gonna be enough liquidity to make a push in the market, and that's what I want to see. Okay. Now we got the CXY. The CXY moved correctly after we draw the possible divergence and everything turned green. That was a nice momentum. Also, the structural divergence here played out very well, but I see this more likely just a correction. So what I would expect from the market is to make a down move actually, because we are under the zero line, but there is no signal yet. So I would wait for some correction or something to turn the volume down, and after that we can move with the down movement actually. All right, that's what I want to see from the market. But if the zero line breaks, this could even go back to the 61 and just after that turning down. So here will be the point to look out. Okay, the AXY broke it out the channel and moved down correctly, but as on the DXY we could see also a structural divergence in the AXY, and with the possible divergence forming, which is not formed yet, almost the same as the XY, the same. On weekly, like I said, there is a huge gap, so there is place to make a correction, even to go back to this trend line eventually, and then a turning point to the downside. It will be good. But right now we are about to break the zero line, so this could go on a lower place, and if the 61 is broken, I would say we can go heading to the downside. So this will be next week the critical point, which is at the low actually. Okay, the AXY already marked here is target zone. There is some structural divergence in, but there is low volume, and I'm gonna show you something on the interest rate. Now, as they're raising the interest rate, there will be a temporary strength from the Japanese yen, but there is, in the last 7 years, there was no raise of the interest rate, but they can't hold into that forever. Like if it happens, this could be a big correction, like I would say even to come back to this point, to the 61, which would mean a huge strength from the Japanese yen. So first of all, I would like to see the price to go down, then a possible divergence to form, and it's the next couple of months actually what I see here. There will be a divergence, and from the divergence we could see a huge up move, which is also an XABCD pattern. Like you could see this told me before, kind of like a butterfly. Okay, what we can witness on this chart. Okay, but first a down move and then an up move, which means that the Bank of Japan should raise interest rates in the coming months. So I'm not saying yet, but the coming months. So I would expect a bearish move first of all. The BXY played it out very well. As I said the week before, there was a break of structure, retest on structure, and down move, which is breaking to the downside and going slowly to the downside. But here is also the same case. There is something about to form right there, but this could just go down same as the XY to the 61. But here on the weekly, it's not that beautiful because there is almost a divergence forming, but everything is in red. Everything is going down aggressively. So I wouldn't say this stops right now. Okay, but there is a chance. So first we need to break this low to get a reaction from the market to the downside. Okay. I'm gonna let it there. All right. And then we have the SXY, still the same target points, which is also marked. Here is a break as well, but here you see the difference between the two. So almost the same as the BXY, but a little bit a different structure. But as you see here, here is also something forming, and I can say that this is more likely a divergence which is forming right there. But I would first see a touch on the 61, and after that the divergence move back up and then one more to the downside. Right, the AXY formed a divergence and everything is in green, but we are still in a contra trend because we are under the zero line. And as you see, here was the previous volume on a higher point that we see right there. I would still say there is a chance of a correction to the 38. Okay, there was a structural divergence as well, made a small movement. That's what I'm looking for, but it's too early yet. Then we have the ZXY. The ZXY is a complete mess, and there is already something forming to the downside, which is interesting because the AXY, as you see on the DNCT, the AXY is dominating the market. So the ZXY shows just weakness, and here the difference in the volume, we are under the zero line, potential divergence forming between two. So I would say let's go to the downside. Okay, that is the point of view in this case. And here is also something formed which is very interesting because we see whole another pattern on the gold than we can see on the DXY. It's a different picture, completely different picture, as you see how the price is closed with 0.67%. It's just crazy compared to the DXY. Okay, that's what I want to see from the market to come to a higher place, I would say to the 61, and from the 61 to the downside. That will be a perfect divergence right there, but it's early to say. This is the first expectations. Let's see what the price does in Monday, Tuesday. Okay, and Wednesday is interest rate decision, so we should have a complete picture by Tuesday. Okay, on weekly there is just a divergence forming, but it's not a beautiful divergence. This is about to break. And as you see in the weekly picture isn't that big that we are looking for. On the long-term run, I will still say this is about to happen. So the sell signal, this forms red, this crossing red. So end of the month, I would expect a bearish candle and even a bigger move to the downside, actually. So what I'm looking for is just a correction right now, and after that, a bigger move to the downside. Okay. And as bonus, what I was looking for is the ECP, which reached the all-time low, actually. This is reaching an oversold zone. There is something like divergence forming. A new week is coming in 3 hours. So what I want to see is here a structural divergence forming. Here is also an oversold value, and I would like to see the price to come back to the zero line. I have an eye on the ECP, and on monthly we are close to get a divergence as well. Okay, it's too early to say, but I think this gonna be soon reaching the lowest point, and then we could expect an aggressive movement from the ECP as well. I already showed the VTC. I guess it was maybe weekly, 2 weeks even. Yes, it was in 2 weeks. So there is also unstructured divergence forming here in the small move as well. This could generate a bigger move in the market, and yeah, it's a cheap price right now on a VTC. But always remember the bigger moves gonna happen always above or under the zero line. Okay. And my another favorite is the CRO. Like I was looking into the CRO for a long, long time. I would like to see this to break. As you see, the volume is acting strangely, and this have to make a cross, and there is a potential divergence forming. So something is definitely forming in the market already. There is no time yet, but I think it will be soon coming into the market. Okay. And just a small lookout for the news. Monday, I'm not expecting very much from the market, but last week we closed with a huge volume, so this could continue on Monday. Okay. The fact doesn't matter that there is no big news on Monday. Okay. After that, the CPYs in the euro meeting minutes 3:30 from the Audi and the Canadian CPY as well. This could have an effect on the market Tuesday and a small one here, but I don't gonna count on it. Then the Wednesday is the FOMC, so the market should be crazy on Wednesday with lot of volume inside. Okay. Then the Thursday, the GPB interest rate and the CHF interest rate as well. So that will be also a huge volume in the market, and we're gonna continue with jobless claims, which should also move the market very well. Then the existing home sales, I think it's not that important. Okay, and the Friday we will start the day with interest rate decision from the GPY and continue with some high impact news from the euro, and after that the S&P global manufacturing, which should have an impact of the market. All right. Thank you for your attention, guys. I see you next week, and have a great weekend. Good night. Bye bye.